Well, this is the first time since education became compulsory that children have been taught en masse at home. To speak more on this, our guest is Eric Charbonnier, an analyst who's worked with the French Department of Education. Thank you very much for being with us. What have been the results of this unique experiment?
It's really interesting what is happening in France. You know, France is by nature a centralized country, and now the reopening of school is on a voluntary basis. That means school, teacher, municipalities have a lot of responsibility in the decision, and that make the situation really complex. And also, you need to be aware that in France, you have some regions at risk where the spread of the virus was really fast, in some other really slow. So the risk to reopen the school is not the same depending of the region where you live.
I've got a 4-year-old of my own who's a very bad student, I can tell you. Looking at the age groups across all the range, has there been a particular age group that has been particularly badly affected by the closures?
Yes. You know, France is one of the countries with the highest level of inequalities. And we know in all the studies that we made, international study at OECD, but also national studies, that inequality starts at early ages. That means in pre-primary education, in primary education. That's also a motivation of this decision. We know that if we want to have a real reduction of inequalities in France, very young children should restart the school, but it's really complex because social distancing is more complex for very young children. Also because a class size of 15 children is not possible for preschool, for primary education, then you need adaptation and adjustment in what is proposed by the president and minister.
What are the plans looking like to reopen schools in France as well as across the rest of Europe?
Yes, you see that there's no unique decision in Europe. It's really interesting to follow. In Spain, in Portugal, the school will be closed until September. In Germany, the decision is to reopen upper secondary, but not for the moment pre-primary education and primary education. In Italy, they will maybe reopen in June pre-primary education. So you see, for France, there's not a lot of model to follow their direction. It's why there's a pressure, a stress on parents also. You imagine parents should decide if they want their children to go in school. It's a big responsibility, especially in a country where school is normally compulsory.
Eric Charbonnier, thank you very much. I'm afraid that's all we have time for.